When we're dealing with creating health and fighting off health problems, it's not just one food, it's a combination of foods. So today we're going to talk about one additional food that I think you should add to your daily salads, and that is the lonely carrot. Now, I've done past videos on carrots relating to the ketogenic diet, but not necessarily the health properties of carrots. And I recently stumbled on some data that is quite fascinating. Carrots can actually do more for your health than you might think. Now, the first thing that usually comes up with a carrot is that it's generally sweet. So people are avoiding those because they're trying to avoid carbs on the ketogenic diet. And it is true that the glycemic index of a carrot is about 72. So high is starting at 70. So it's 72. So yeah, it's a little bit high. But because it's so filled with fiber, okay, and the net carbs for one medium carrot is only 4.3 carbs, and you're allowed like 50 carbs, it falls in the category of something that's pretty safe because the glycemic load, which is a little different than the glycemic index, is a different formula. It's basically the amount of carbs because we're deducting all this fiber, brings the carrot down to like 2.8 on the glycemic load scale. I mean, think about this. Anything less than 10 is low. It's pretty low on the glycemic load. So you're not going to bump yourself out of ketosis by eating a carrot a day. Carrots typically are thought of improving your eyesight because they're loaded with the precursor to vitamin A. And beta carotene, which is the precursor, is not retinol, the active form of vitamin A, even though they call it vitamin A. It's a precursor. It has to be converted. And there's a small percentage that can convert to retinol. It's not that high, but it's something. Now, there are a lot of other things in carrots. You have all sorts of phytonutrients that help as a gentle antioxidant. So let's get into it. Number one, the fiber in carrots that we can't digest, but our microbes can greatly help you detoxify estrogen. Okay. And so if you're estrogen dominant, it can help balance that. Now, what are the risk factors of estrogen dominance? Well, problems with your menstrual cycle, heavy periods, weight gain in a lower section of your body, increased risk of cancer. And so anything that can actually buffer this estrogen is a good thing. Number two, it lessens the activation of procarcinogens. Those are things that are like carcinogenic, things that can cause cancer. Well, they lessen the activation of that. Number three, it's an antioxidant. Number four, it's anti-angiogenic. What does that mean? Well, when a cancer cell grows, it needs blood supply. And so there are various vegetables, definitely the cruciferous vegetables, but also carrots, that can inhibit these new blood vessels to tumors. Thus, are called anti-angiogenic. Carrots also have anti-clotting properties. They also have properties that can help fight mycoplasmas, which are bacteria without the cell wall. But I think one of the biggest benefits of carrots is related to this other phytonutrient, and it's called fulcarinol. Now, there is some data that shows that it's not just this one phytonutrient. There's some other related synergistic compounds. But nonetheless, if you eat a raw carrot a day, you're going to get a good amount of this fulcarinol. And fulcarinol is a natural pesticide and fungicide. Fulcarinol is also in fennel, it's in celery, it's in ginseng, it's in parsley. But there's a lot of it in carrots. Now, even though it's a natural pesticide, it's not harmful to our bodies, so you don't have to worry about it. In fact, it may help you if you have any pathogenic funguses growing in your body. But the big thing that fulcarinol does is what it can do for cancer. Apparently, the research shows that it can significantly decrease the risk of cancer, especially breast cancer and prostate cancer and gastric cancer and maybe even other cancers. And this other function may relate to cancer or just in general, it just may help you with inflammation because fulcarinol is a potent inhibitor of intestinal inflammation, even more than sulforaphane. And I've done videos on this where I talked about sulforaphane helping with gastritis and all sorts of inflammation in your gut. And sulforaphane is in broccoli and broccoli sprouts. But we don't want to forget the carrot too, okay? So I would recommend eating at least one medium-sized raw carrot, organic raw carrot in your salad or just in general each day. And one of the ways that it can do this is through stimulating the tumor suppressor genes. And these are things that can actually suppress the genetics that relate to growing tumors. In some of these studies, which I'll list down below, you get a slower development of the cancer. You get inhibition of the aggressive cancer cells. You also get induction of apoptosis. What does that mean? It means that it triggers the cancer cells to die. Now, since we're on the topic of cancer, okay, in foods, you should definitely see this video that related to other foods you should be eating to lower your risk of cancer. And I put that up right here.